Welcome, absolutely everyone, to Broke and Gaming. I'm your co-host, Shea.
I'm your other co-host, Dan. And hey, Shea, what have you been playing recently?
Well, Dan, it's been all turn-based games based on tabletop RPGs for me.
It's very
recently.
specific.
Yeah, I've been trying to scratch a very specific itch, and I've found the games to do it. So first up is Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, and I bring that up again just so I can correct literally every fact that I displayed last time.
This is a retraction episode.
Yeah, so apparently Pathfinder has only been around since 2009, which is insane to me.
Look, surprising to me as well, but I feel like it's one of those things where I just got it confused with a bunch of other D&D clones that were out at certain points in time that just borrowed heavily from different aspects.
Yeah.
Like Dragonlance, for example.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently Pathfinder was built off of D&D 3.5 in 2009, and there's only been 2 Pathfinder video games ever made. So everything that I said about Pathfinder last episode was wrong. But I am having a great deal of fun with that game, and it's essentially clone Solasta, Crown of the Magisters, which is another very high fantasy bullshit tabletop RPG inspired game.
Sure.
The difference though is that in Solasta you can, and similar to the original Baldur's Gate, you can make your entire party out of completely created characters.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is. So you can pick and choose what your 4 characters are good at and your party composition. I'll be honest with you. I made 4 characters, 3 of whom I assumed would be jockeying for leadership of the group, and 1 who was just a goofball rogue who I thought would never speak in serious conversations. And guess who talks all the time?
Would it be the rogue?
It would be the goofball rogue, Dan, yes. He is consistently taking the lead on every conversation that we have with people. And I was like, this is not you at all.
Functionally, how does that work? You don't have the choice of who talks?
In certain situations you do. If you have to, have a conversation based on skills. Sure. Or specific knowledge harvested from their background or something like that, you can select to have somebody specific go into a conversation, but for the most part, everything is pre-scripted and it's allocated to character 1 through character 4.
I see.
And I guess I picked the rogue first, so he gets the lion's share of the lines in conversation. Okay. So,
did you his their charisma or anything, or
No.
Okay,
no.
So they're not fucking it up or anything.
No, it's not about it's not based on how good at talking the party is. It's just for the most part conversations go one way, and sure. It's just who's talking to the people that you're talking to. And my intention with this buffoon of a rogue was to be the goofiest looking motherfucker in the world and silently stand behind the party so that you could laugh at a clown while having a serious conversation.
Okay.
And he's just he's taken over. So I gave him all fantasy ass names, so I can't even tell you what his name is, but he's got the biggest baby face and the stupidest tattoos on his face that I could possibly find in that game.
Excellent.
And he represents my party now, I guess.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, so both of those games are largely the same. I just started playing Gotham Knights yesterday. Are you able to change characters at all throughout that story?
Yes, but I think... How long have you played it so far?
I'm only 2 chapters in, but I'm I picked Nightwing because I was he seems the most bland and basic for me to learn how to play the game. And
He's your most well-rounded character, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a certain point, you can kind of just pick and choose. you could hypothetically do every mission from this after what is essentially tutorials for each character.
Uh-huh.
If I'm recalling correctly, it's been a little bit since I played. You could do every mission with the same character if you so chose, but like I was trying to keep it as balanced as possible and like decide what I felt best fit the characters, but there's unique dialogue for each person if you were to do their mission, a mission with them.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sick of playing as Nightwing already, so looking forward to not doing that anymore.
Yeah, I used Tim a lot. I used Barbara a fair amount. For anything that I knew was going to get like real down and dirty, I would go with Jason. Like I think I had like mission archetypes almost planned out in my head, which like didn't always go to plan. Sometimes like this would have really been a better experience with Tim because I need to sneak around much more than I thought I would.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there's no real consequence to taking one character over the other in any given mission once you are able to choose.
Man, talk about a polished piece of shit, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, comparing it to a lot of other stuff that DC has put out in recent memory, it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, that's true. But the top of the shit heap is still shit. I just it's clear that they put money into it, and this drives me insane in big budget video games, but like the mouth movements do not match up with people talking, and it's infuriating. Can't stand it.
Yeah.
Also, like, Alfred is acting shady as shit early on.
He's kind of a dick, yeah.
He makes an exit from a couple of scenes, and the way he's like looking at the group is like so sinister that it's like, is Alfred the bad guy in this game? What a twist that would be.
It really would. I mean, he just lost his adopted son, Shea.
Yeah, right. Because he went on vacation for the first time in 3 years, they said.
Exactly. Very funny. But, like, I think DC also suffers from that thing of you kind of need to know a lot more about the world in general going into their stuff than you do with Marvel sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, Marvel will throw shit out and you'll be like, all right, that's fine. Like, you don't really need to understand how Terrigen Mist works necessarily. You'll understand the general concept.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, DC, it's like, you get into the deep lore of, like, the Lazarus Pit and shit like that, and you're just like, am I supposed to know about this thing? Like, I do, just because I was born and raised a nerd. But, like, for the general public, I don't know that that's always a thing people are going to understand.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also, like, not... all their shit is, like, not named intuitively. As goofy as it is to have Iron Man call something I don't know. I don't have a good example off the top of my head, but like Tony Stark calling something exactly what it does help with exposition in movies and media and whatnot. And the Lazarus Pit is not necessarily biblical. Something that would be intuitive if you're not a Batman fan or B suffering from religious trauma. Yeah.
So. No, you're exactly right. Like, Tony calling something an arc reactor, you don't necessarily have to know how that functions to be like, reactor. I get that part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing I've been playing is Fable Anniversary, because if they're going to make me wait until after the Fable remake comes out for me to get Elder Scrolls 6, I'm not going to play the Fable remake, and instead I'm going to play the Fable Anniversary, because fuck you, Todd Howard.
Yeah. Is it just a remake of the first one? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I had to think
No, you're fine.
I couldn't remember. I actually don't... It might be more, to be honest with you. But I am going to safely say it is the first one.
At the very least, the first one.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed those games when they first came out. They made some weird missteps, and absolutely...
I hated the third one, man.
Third one was not great, in my recollection. Second was probably the strongest, even though it had, like, the worst ending out of all of them. But, like, definitely had that Peter Molyneux over-promising issue, like, with each one of them.
Sure. Yeah.
It was like, you're going to be able to do so many things. Nobody's ever made an RPG like this. And it's like, no, it's kind of just, it's just an RPG with a slight morality thing going on, which is definitely a thing.
Almost literally everyone has made an RPG like this at this point. So
before that, after that, yeah. There was not a whole lot of revolutionary stuff in it other than actually, no. Can't think of anything that was super revolutionary. I tried. I genuinely tried. I couldn't pull anything.
Yeah. Would a morality scale have been new at the... Oh, no, because I guess Knights of the Old Republic came out.
Yep.
Before that. Damn.
Yeah, there were probably a couple examples of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic. I don't know that BioWare necessarily pioneered that either, but like...
No.
It was definitely there.
Yeah. Well, shit.
So does the first one hold up as a remaster?
I like it a lot. I really do. I was not in the initial demographic of people who played Fable. I got into the series much later, and so I was able to check out much easier than I think many of the fans of the series have been able to do.
Sure.
But I'm having a good time playing the first one. So I would say yes, it does hold up. And if you can grab it for... Actually, it might... I don't know what the retail is on that, but I would imagine it's pretty good and probably worth it if it's under 20.
Are you playing it on Steam or...
Steam Deck, baby!
Hell yeah. Yeah, how's that working out? Let's take a sidetrack here. How's the Steam Deck working out for you so far?
So upon further review of the games available on the Steam Deck, there are a lot more games that are accessible on the Steam Deck. It looks like the big thing right now is, for whatever reason, they can't seem to manage to translate text size from initial release to Steam Deck display. So a lot of games will have the yellow kind of works on Steam Deck symbol when it's just you might have some trouble reading some things. So I've managed to open up my library there a little bit.
Okay.
But there are still some games that I would expect would be easily compatible with Steam Deck functionality that are not, but overall I think it is so far worthwhile.
Okay. $34.99 is the price tag currently for Fable Anniversary on Steam.
That is for sure not what I paid for it.
Probably grabbed it on some sort of sale.
$34.99. Eat my whole asshole.
That's pretty steep for a 20 some odd year old game, even as a remaster.
Right.
Wait, when did the first Fable come out?
That's a good.
It was like right around when I graduated from high school. It must have been. Also, Fable on the Steam page just has to be announced for the release date for Steam.
Oh, Jesus
great,
Christ.
great sign. Great sign.
Cool. 2004. Damn.
All right, so yeah.
That was not even close to pioneering like a morality scale.
No, for sure not.
You know what was groundbreaking about that? Potentially? Was that Danny Elfman did the music for the series.
I mean,
I don't know that
that's definitely a positive.
Movie composers were doing video game soundtracks at that point.
Not a whole lot of John Williams scores in video games outside of Star Wars stuff. All right, you have any other games for the month?
I really don't, Dan. I'm chugging along on an NHL 23. Got my second Stanley Cup in a row.
Got your two-peat?
Yep.
Or just a repeat. I don't know why I tried anything other than that. That's just a repeat. Damn.
Yep, it is.
We're both really sick. We should note both Shea and I are under the weather at the moment. If you can't tell by the relative huskiness in my voice.
Yeah.
Compared to usual. I'm drinking some mushroom root tea at the moment.
Gross.
Repeat.
Yes.
God damn.
I'm currently 5 games into season 3. 5-0. completely redid my blue line. Everything's going great. I tried out the Warhammer 40k Space Marine remake.
Yeah.
And holy shit, if all the games are like that, like $70 is a fucking robbery for those games.
That's more Timmy's area of expertise.
Yeah.
I've never played a Warhammer. I've never played a 40k. I've never played any of them. So
yeah, this is my first foray into that world, and it seems like a pretty basic hack and slash.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that there's at least some pretty broad variety when it comes to stuff based on Warhammer, but...
Well, yeah, because, I mean, they put out 17 games a year.
Yeah. Yep. Then we come to find out it's only been 4... and
it's been 4 months.
It's a 3-year-old property. Oh, my God. Man. All right. Well, hey, would you like to know what I've been playing?
I just wanted to fact check Warhammer 40k.
Yeah, go ahead.
The first rulebook was published in September 1987, so we're...
Thank goodness.
Safe there.
All right.
But yes, Dan, what have you been playing?
Oh, geez, Shea. Well, I'll start with the one that I'm going to force myself to be brief on. Last month, they put up WWE 2K24 for free, and I was like, sure, why not? And it's fine. It's a game. It is funny that because of the turnaround in wrestling specifically, a good chunk of your roster no longer works for the company anymore. Was either fired in disgrace or just released because of budget cuts, quote unquote. That's always very interesting. Like, this guy works for the other company now. Oh, so does this other 10 people.
Yeah, I mean, they got to pay for Vince McMahon's lawsuits now, so...
Did you watch that Netflix documentary?
No, man, come on.
It's pretty softball. There's nothing new in it.
Yeah,
I don't know,
because they had it ready to go 4 minutes after the accusations were made. Of course, it was just fucking headline grabbing.
Well, yes, but also they started filming it 2 years before those allegations came out.
Yeah, but
like the real rough ones.
Come on.
Oh no, I know.
Come on, though.
Netflix knew what they were doing. Especially
we all
considering
know
the
what
fact
Vince
that
McMahon's about.
Yeah, like the fact that anybody was surprised. I mean, look, specific parts of those allegations, I was like, oh fuck, really? But we all knew he was a piece of shit. You can't be a wrestling fan and not. You can't be a person living on this planet. Forget being a wrestling fan and not know that Vince McMahon is kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
They filmed the interviews in 2 chunks as well. Like, it was like pre-accusation, post-accusation.
Oh, I'm sure that's skewed very fairly.
Well, Bruce Pritchard specifically, who's like a longtime WWE producer, like head honcho-y type, was like, I don't think what you did was fair. I don't think that this shows Vince in the correct sort of light. And it's like, brother, no.
Come on, man.
Come on. It's like, you don't know what he did for my wife when she had cancer. I'm like, all right, he likes you, man. That doesn't mean he treats women well. Like, what do you want here? Whatever. So the only other thing I'll note about 2K24 is they have 2 different create a character story modes that you can do.
Interesting.
One if you decide to be a female presenting wrestler, one if you decide to be a male presenting wrestler. And for the male presenting wrestler, within the first 5 matches that you wrestle, you become the world champion, technically universal champion, but like that's a dumb name. And then the entire career mode, you are the champion, just like trying to hold on to his belt. They've never done that before. The whole thing was to be like, hey, can you beat Roman Reigns' record, who's largely absent, supposedly in Hollywood the whole time, which in real life has not worked out for Roman Reigns. I think he only did the Fast and the Furious cameo, and that was the only thing of note, but that's fine. There's no Rock, there's no whatever. Like, the last person you face before you face Roman Reigns is Brock Lesnar, who was also fired in disgrace. So that's real good. It's all very timely. I finished the story mode, I deleted it, and we'll never have to talk about it again.
Thank Christ.
Yep. That's like 3 or 4 episodes in a row now I've gotten wrestling in, and this is the only legitimate way I've gotten it in.
Oh, I know, Dan. I know.
I'll put a moratorium on wrestling for the remainder of the year. Does that sound good?
Sure.
There's only 2 more episodes. I'm pretty sure I can manage. All right. On Timmy's recommendation, I played a game called The Plucky Squire, and I really liked it. It was the free game for October, as well as 2K24. Shea, do you know anything about The Plucky Squire?
I know nothing about it, though I have seen the cover frequently.
So, this is one of those games where they're like, let's really play with the medium. Let's like fuck around with art styles. Let's bend some boundaries and whatever. The main thrust of the game takes place in a storybook. Like, you are aware that you are a character in a storybook.
Uh-huh.
But because of some dickhead wizard, you are pushed out of your book and into the bedroom of a child that owns said book.
Okay.
It becomes then 3D from 2D, and then you have to, like, do a bunch of stuff in the real world, like on his desk, and then get back into the book. And you kind of, like, have control over the book from that point. Like, you can turn the pages back to go find things that you may have, that you may need to bring to a page that you're currently on. It's really neat. Like, there's so much cool innovation stuff. My only issue is that all of the boss fights, like main thrust boss fights, are minigame things. Like, the rest of the game plays like a top-down Zelda.
Okay.
Like, when you're in the book, like, that's basically what you're doing. And then it'll be like, all right, time to do a boss fight. Let's do a round of fucking Punch-Out. And then you do Punch-Out. Or you do Bubble Bobble. Or you do, like, a one-button rhythm game. It's fun, but, like, I don't know who they're aiming for with this. Like, I don't know if it's for much younger audiences, and I just ended up playing the whole thing. Because there wasn't anything that was, like, super, super challenging. Bubble Bobble, oddly, was the hardest thing in the game. Like, one of those just, like, match the color shooter deals.
Sure.
That's the thing I died on the most. Genuinely. But none of the like, regular enemies are any sort of real challenge. It's pretty generous when it comes to your health. The puzzles aren't the most difficult thing in the world. Like, so you can see the words that are on the page, and it'll just be like little blurbs, and you can knock a word loose and find a different word and replace it, and it'll change what's going on the page.
Mm-hmm.
Which, very cool. That's a super cute idea. But, like, that's about as difficult as the puzzles get.
Yeah.
Like, just manipulating your surroundings to fit getting through something. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but, like, in retrospect, it's like, I don't know who the audience is for this exactly. It's pretty short overall. It's, like, 10 chapters. Each chapter is, like, give or take 20 minutes, depending on how you're playing. The stuff that happens in the quote-unquote real world is really neat, because, like, going from generalized fantasy Zelda-y stuff to jumping around on blocks and, like, all these things that this kid has built is really cool. And the whole thing is that, like, if your book isn't restored to the way it was, this kid will never be inspired to become an author himself.
That's fine.
I think that's cool. I like that. Yeah. Whatever.
Sorry.
No, it's good. But eventually you meet the character that he ends up creating, which I think is a really cool thing. I don't know. It's a cute game.
Yeah.
Definitely could be played with a kid, if you have a kid, or know a kid. I don't feel well. All right, so the thing I'm playing right now, because I got to dive back into Ishin. Oh, I got to tell you about this. So I bought a physical copy.
Oh my god.
I know, Shea.
That's two wild things that you've just said.
I know.
You bought a game, and you bought a physical copy of a game.
I know. And it's because
What is this, 2009?
Look. So when I bought my PS5, I specifically bought the disc drive version because I have a bunch of back catalog stuff that I liked
Sure.
to be able to play. And I wanted to get rid of my PS4 because that's a reasonable thing to do. So I wanted to pick up Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth because I've been playing Ishin and I just really like the series. And so I picked up a copy for $25 less than what they currently have it for on the PlayStation Store. And I put it in my disk drive and it couldn't read it. And I went, well, that's weird. It's a brand new game. So I took it out, made sure I didn't put it in upside down because the PS5 is a weird shape and like maybe they flipped it or something because I don't think I've put a disc in it since I purchased it. So I'm like, that stranger things have happened. Nope, had it in the right way, cleaned it, did all the things, wouldn't read it. So then I tried like just a different game. Wouldn't read that either.
Oh boy.
Then I Googled it, and I guess PS5s generally speaking, but more specifically, the version, like the one that I got, which was packaged with, it was the God of War bundle, has disc reader issues. There was never like a recall for it or anything, but like you can send it off to be fixed. So the moral of the story is I'm never buying anything physical ever again, which sucks because there are issues with like digital purchasing and like things just being taken off of stores even though you've paid money for them. Sony's just going through a whole bunch of shit right now where like they just took their entire movie collection off of whatever. So if it's not already saved on a hard drive, anything you've spent money on for movies from their media store, that's just gone forever. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
So I did not play Infinite Wealth this month.
Damn.
Yep. I'm just going to keep an eye out on I have it on my wish list now. Like, I've returned the game and it's whatever. I was given a slightly hard time because it's like, you know when you just buy the wrong, like a game for the wrong system? Like, that's how I felt like they thought I was, like, did you buy a PS5 and you had a PS4? No, I bought the right thing for the thing.
Yeah.
It's just, my shit's broken. I don't know what to tell you. I can't use this. Yeah. So I got store credit, which is fine because I needed to buy other things anyway.
There you go.
So yeah, I'm just never buying physical media ever again.
And that's what they want, Dan.
I know. It sucks. I also wish I hadn't spent the extra money to get the disc drive version of the fucking PlayStation. But whatever. So the last game I played this month was I've started Night in the Woods finally. Game that for all intents and purposes I should have played a long fucking time ago. It has everything that I like in games. It's dumb with a cute art style and it's indie as all fucking get out with silly writing. There's no reason I shouldn't have played this game before, but I'm playing it now and I'm liking it a lot. Do you know anything about Night in the Woods? Have you played Night in the Woods? I
have not, no. Don't know anything about it.
Kind of a point and click adventure, sort of not really point and click. It's a story driven game about a college dropout who goes back to her hometown and like a bunch of mysterious shit starts happening. And you also happen to be an anthropomorphic cat cartoon character. Yeah. It's fine. I don't care. It's a good game. It's fun. So like it's got a horror-y tinge to it. Like you just find a severed arm and because you and your friends are all goofy, you're just like, let's poke it with a stick. I'm 22 years old. Like you're getting into your character's backstory where like something happened in high school where like you damn near killed a person. But
that's fun.
Yeah, all of that in due time, I guess. I'll report back. I am really enjoying it though. I've been playing it with Kit just because the writing is really fun. I never know when it's a game that's set in the kind of voice of a much younger character, like where certain directors and writers get their inspiration from. Like where it's just like, this is very specifically their own language. Like, do they just have teenage consultants that they bring in? It's like, what's a funny way to say, let's drive to the place? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. It's, again, there's no excuse as to why I haven't played this yet. I think I wanted to cover it for the show, and I don't think it was ever in our price range. I'm going to check right now on Steam and see what it is.
Currently in our price range.
Fuck! All right, let's bring back the old format.
Yeah.
Just kidding. That was very tiring.
When I looked it up, the art for the game looked very familiar, so I do think we talked about it. I just don't know that we ever got around to it.
I think it was like 25 up until very recently, if I had to make a guess. Anyway, I like it. I'm going to keep playing it. It seems like it's much longer than I had anticipated, especially for like a story-driven game. Like it's not super unlike The Artful Escape, like that genre of game.
Sure.
Except that it seems like your choices that you make are much less impactful on the overall story. And that's okay. I do know...
The Artful Escape?
Yeah.
Less impactful than The Artful Escape, huh?
Yeah. The one thing I do know is that, like, you have to tend to certain relationships.
Uh-huh.
Like, I do think this has multiple endings, and I think it's more based on who you interact with more than how you interact with them. Like, you move back in with your parents, and you have to maintain, like, some semblance of relationship with them.
Do they kick you out if you don't?
I don't think they kick you out, but, like, I think things get more distant and impact the overall story. So, like, every morning I wake up, I go have a conversation with my mom. When I come home at night, I have a conversation with my dad. And then I go to bed. There's also, like, a bunch of fun minigame stuff in this that's entirely optional. Like, there's a full, like, top-down hack and slash, like, built into the game that's just completely separate and you do not have to do at all. But it's well built and genuinely pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's some there's some, like, rhythm game stuff, because just everything needs to have fucking rhythm games apparently now.
All your indie games do, Dan.
They really do.
Must be really easy to code that or some shit.
I must be, right? Speaking of, and then we'll wrap things up. We've been doing the game night at Retro Burger in Bethlehem, and a really fun thing we've been doing, like, as a group at the end of the night is there's a Jackbox game in the most recent, like, full pack called Dodo Re Mi.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a rhythm game that you play as a group on your phone, and you don't get to see the results until after it's over. So
okay,
you choose what your instrument is going to be, and only you can hear it, like, how you're doing on your phone until the piece finishes, and then they play all of them together, and it's just this cacophony of just weird sounds.
Hey, Dan, real quick. Is our logo on that game night banner?
Totally.
Okay. 2 episodes in a row that's getting cut.
All right, fair enough. Man. All right, I genuinely want to go lay down. I have a gig tonight. So let's wrap things up. Hey, Shea, do we have an update on our other podcast?
Yeah, Dan. Broken Gaming Plays, Draugr,
it just doesn't, like, I get that it doesn't roll off the tongue.
Draugrs and Daedra? Daedra and Draugrs? Which one is it?
Yep.
Draugrs and Daedra, I think.
Our anyway, Delve Bound podcast.
Yeah, Broken Gaming Plays, Draugrs and Daedra. It currently has 3.5 sessions wrapped and recorded. The first episode has been fully edited, but we would like to bank some more, so we're kind of holding off on releasing anything until we have some things in the bank. So at this point, we're probably looking at a Q1 2025 release.
Or later, if you're Todd Howard.
Correct. But we're looking to get these out early in 2025 once we have a good bit of them banked. I have listened to the first episode probably 6 or 7 times and am very excited every time I listen to it. So I'm really looking forward to getting it out there. We just want to make sure that we have enough to make it a regular release. So
yep, Will is doing.
That's a delay right now, but yeah, getting there.
Will is doing a fantastic job editing. We have, like, music and shit. You guys, this sounds like way more professional than this nonsense we're doing right now. Like, it's like a real podcast. Not to any.
Almost.
It's almost a real podcast. No, every player is killing it. I'm so excited for you guys to get introduced to this world we're building. And again, shout out to the Delvebound team for allowing us to do this. I'm so excited.
Yeah, for sure. I think the party is gelling really well now too. I think we first session or two kind of finding roles within the party. And I wouldn't say that those things are solidified yet, but relationships are starting to form, I would say, which has been an adventure.
Yep. We've been working on some backstory stuff, some stuff that only Shea gets to know about, some things that only other players get to know about. Like there's a lot of cool stuff being fleshed out that I can't wait to see how it plays. But probably 3 months, we'll say, hypothetically. Maybe not. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
We've got a couple more recording sessions in between there. We've already done some combat stuff that, boy, oh boy, it's it's going to be great.
Suffice it to say that it is really hard to balance combat encounters.
We're all learning.
Yeah.
All right, but that'll just about do it for us for this episode. As always, you can follow us on social media at BNGPod on Instagram, where you can check out custom artwork for each episode, as well as sales that you should be aware of. We call cheap codes. You can also find that information on our Facebook page. Just search Broke N Gaming on Facebook.
If you'd like to share the show, you can do so with our hosting site, which is anchor.fm/BNGPod. And if you want to follow us on Twitch, where I have streamed every time that I said that I was going to.
Without fail.
Correct. 2 out of 2 times. You could do so over on twitch.tv/BNGpodcast. And if you'd like to look back at the catalog of streams that I managed to save after I thought about it for a second, you can do that over on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@BrokeNGamingPodcast.
If you'd like to send us an email for any reason, you can do so at brokengamingpod@gmail.com, where we take game suggestions, generalized criticisms, and your fan art for characters you don't know anything about yet for Delvebound. Just make guesses. Do artwork based on what you think we're going to be playing as, and send that our way. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
We will talk about that. I would love to just pretend that somebody did that, and then we just describe them in the next episode.
It would be really fun if people did do that, and then when it comes out, they take that drawing and do an Animorph style transformation into the actual character.
That's a great idea. Or it could just be characters that we end up using as NPCs later on.
Correct.
I'm cool with all of this.
Correct.
Hell
yes. Yeah. A lot of easy work for me.
Yep, what I'm asking is, do some work for us. That's ultimately what I'm pitching. Boy, oh boy. All right.
Let's go recover.
Yeah, I'm going to make another cup of tea. I'm going to lay down. Until next time, goodbye, absolutely everyone.
Goodbye.